first stop is Cheddleton Flint Mill. Let's go and have a little look around there. Kids off, get ready. Come on. I can't work out whether or not I've got a bit excited because the sun, well, it was out. I'm not wearing a jacket. It's the first time I've not worn a coat since the winter. It's the perfect day for cruising and also for sharing where I'm going to live in the spring and summer this year. There's a gorgeous Cheddleton station there in the distance. First of all, I need to get to a service point as it was impossible to get to the Froggle services due to the sandbank situation. That means going back to Endon via the Flint Mill, but once water is topped and rubbish is emptied, this week is all about exploring the Leek branch. Coming up to a gorgeous boat-in pub on the left-hand side. It's really friendly in there. It's a lovely pub to visit. These are really lovely gardens going down to the canal and beautiful cottages at the top. They're so sweet. This is a type of sumac plant, that one. I saw that growing outside the potter's house. It's beautiful. I love it. Daffodils are starting to bloom. They're beautiful yellow trumpet heads. About the spring and summer now, isn't it? Not far to the Flint Mill now. I just got to put on another layer. I was a bit too enthusiastic about the spring being here. So I'm going to do the first lock now. Grey cloud behind me. Measured the fuel this morning on the fuel gauge, and you can see that's where we are. Last time we put fuel in this boat in Alice Grace and filled her up, it was at Great Haywood, and that was at Christmas, December time. So run the heating every morning for at least 2 hours, and then obviously we've done our journey. We haven't travelled great distances, but we have travelled. I'm really hoping to get onto the Shroppie because I know that Aqueduct Marina do HVO, and I think they are the only marina selling HVO. And since the meeting that I had online where the Inland Waterways went to Parliament, basically went to Westminster about trying to get HVO accessible and affordable on the waterways, the regulations have changed, so it's easier to buy. The tax issue isn't as complicated, so I'm hoping to get some, but there's no marinas that will sell it, and Crown Oil will not sell it individually to boaters. never tried them. But the first fuel stop's going to have to be in Echuria, otherwise we won't have enough fuel to get up to the Macclesfield Canal, then onto the Peak Forest Canal. After that, the plan is to go back down the Macclesfield Canal, onto the Trent and Mersey, and towards the Shropshire Union via the Middlewich branch. That will give us 2 rivers to explore in the summer, because we like exploring rivers in the summer, and that will be the River Dee and the River Weaver. And the parts that aren't navigable for a 60-foot narrowboat, that is when we are going to use Little Alice. And I'm really looking forward to it, I can't wait. But the plan now though is to moor up and explore Cheddleton Flint Mill. Waiting for Zephyr to finish her dentist-stick, and then I'm going to have a little look at the Flint Mill. Where is she? Is that nice? Is that yummy dentist-stick? Right, should we go and have a look at the Flint Mill now? The earliest reference to milling here dates back to 1253, and this was once a corn mill, but it later became a flint grinding mill, and the flint was really important in Wedgwood's creamware pottery. The flint was lifted and placed through the top of the kiln, and then it was heated with coal for 3 days. On the 3rd day, the poor miller would get on his hands and knees in the hovel of the kiln and separate the pebbles of flint from coal. They would then be put into this granulated machine, so they were smaller, and then the miller would put the smaller pieces of flint into a wagon, push the wagon up this little track here into the North Mill, and the North Mill was where it was start the grinding process. Behind Zephyr is a grinding stone. You can hear the wagtails. Flint is actually fossilised sea sponge, so it would have been collected by people on the beaches like Dover, for example, and then it would have been taken to Liverpool by boat, and from Liverpool it would have travelled on the Weaver navigation on the Trent and Mersey all the way to the Colden Canal, so that it could be ground into flint good enough to mix with clay so Wedgwood could make his creamware pottery. It's just incredible, that journey. And Cheddleton Mill was the perfect place to do the grinding because of the power of the River Churnet. Today's destination is the bottom of the Leek branch, but is it going to be a good place to stay for the week? Day 2, it's gorgeous here. Are you wishing us bon voyage? Well, this is a beautiful morning. Morning, Zeph. How are you this morning? Are you raring to go? Even though I know this stretch very well now, today it seems to have an extra special sparkle about it. And this is the spectacular Hazelhurst Aqueduct, which we will be cruising on top of once we've visited the service station. And it seems we're not the only boaters making the most of the sunshine. Today I'm feeling really grateful for all the rain and all the grey days we've had this winter, because I really appreciate today when the sun comes out. I don't know if I'd appreciate today as much if it had been like this all winter. And that feeling of appreciation is just as wonderful. It just takes my breath away, this scenery. So thank you for the rain and thank you for the grey days. But I quite like a few more of these now. Okay, all the service is done. So now I just got to win the boat and get onto the leap branch. Now I'm coming up to the junction onto the leap arm. Concentration phase. There we go. And this time over the Hazelhurst Aqueduct. There's only 5 other navigations where one canal crosses over another canal like this on the system. So on the left hand side is the river, on the right hand side is the old railway. So we've crossed over the canal, the river, and now we're crossing over the railway. Now I know March is only just about to begin, but this has got to be the best cruise of the year so far. Passing beautiful narrowboats on equally beautiful private mooring spots. And gorgeous houses hugged by hills. Look at this towpath. Oh, that's lovely to see. No muddy boots. Tunnel Pools up here is a perfect mooring spot for boaters, but today I'm going to go through the tunnel. Canal builders spent time building this tunnel, so as a way of a thank you, I'm going to go through it. So this is very narrow. And finally, a place to moor and call home for a week. Because it's the beginning of March, what I like to do at the beginning of a month is have a look at Edith Holden's diary, and then have a look back over my last couple of years' journals, just to see what was happening in March and where I was. And then we're going to go for a walk, and then we're going to see what I can see at the beginning of the March this year. So I've got Edith's diary, and I've got my diary, and I've bookmarked the beginnings of March. And so Edith, she found a song thrush nest with young in it. And then also she's found lesser celandine, coltsfoot, and she's found the buds on the willow trees like pussy willow and goat's willow and those sorts of buds in early March. So I'm going to have a little look out for those. In 2022, I was on the Coventry Canal at the beginning of March, and I filmed flowering red currant, and I filmed long-tailed tits. They were near the quarries. Also, last year, 2023, I was in Stourbridge. I got my night camera out, and a heron followed us all the way down the flight, so I did all about the heron. So, should we go for a walk then? You're not going to roll in anything, are you? Remember, I've told you about rolling and stuff. Promise? Are you gorgeous? Because February has passed us, I don't think I'm likely going to see the waxwing that I wanted to see this year. There's been a massive influx of waxwing into the UK. I think it was to do with an extra cold Scandinavian winter. And there have been sightings everywhere of waxwing. But I just want to say a big thank you to Bob and Mary for sending me photographs of the waxwing that they've seen this year. That's something to look forward to, seeing waxwing maybe next year. Sav, did you just roll in something while I was talking? Did you roll in something? Today I'm going to make myself stop every now and again and just look at something for a while, maybe just a minute or so. I've come to Ladderedge Country Park, which is very close to the end of the Leek Branch, in order to find my 1 minute miracles today. That's an amazing view for a start. Hi, Robin. Are you coming to say hi? Oh, hello. Hello. Are you gorgeous? I do have some seeds in my pocket. Would you like? Oh, there is something very special about robins. There really is. There's a magic to them. I'm going to spend a minute here where Zeph is. I don't know why, but this spot, I think it's just a nice spot to rest a while. While I was sitting there, I noticed that there was a hazel tree right next to me, and I always like to try and spot the very first tiny pink flower on the hazel tree every year. There you go, I just saw one. It's my very first hazel flower of the year. It's supposed to be resting. What have you been doing with your minute? I've been looking at a hazel flower. What have you been doing, Zeph? Finding an old ball. It's in a bit of a state, that one. Oh, crikey. Have you seen this ball? But But on the narrowboat this week, which I discovered because I accidentally swept it in the canal and then I had to rescue it quickly, we've got our very own granulated ground beetle, which is gorgeous to look at. From the sea to creamware, of such elegant air, the hovel and shovel forgot, wound and ground by the wheel, now mossy and still, its grind behind many a pot. The beetle in bronze, as it hastily absconds, its armour an etching of chains, keeps wait to impale its spears through a snail, the battle just one of life's strains. And the pink petalled pin on the hazel catkin, like the brooch on the coat of a queen, each find a mosaic in this picture I make of the week's little miracles I've seen.